Hi, this is Horse Help, and today we're going to look at fitting a saddle to a horse. So I've got my horse here in the stable and I've got my saddle. So let's see how we're going to fit it. What you probably want to do, if possible, is to go to a saddler's and get 2 or 3 different saddles on loan to try all at the same time and have a look at. But if that's not possible, get the saddle you think is most likely to fit, and obviously making sure that it's the right size for you. So first thing I'm looking at is to check that I've got clearance all the way through the gullet and that I can see daylight out the other side, which I can with this. Then I need to be able to see that if there's going to be some weight on the saddle, that it's not going to push down at all on the wither, plenty of clearance, and that all the way down the side of the panel it fits the horse, it doesn't stick out away from the horse. So then I want to be able to look at feeling that pressure all the way along the saddle. It's hard to see because of the sunlight, but I need to be able to feel it all the way into the back. And if you can just see my hand here, I need to feel that the pressure on the horse is even all the way along the panel and that there's no gap under the saddle flap. Often you find if you put your hand under here, under the saddle flap, right underneath, you can feel some that it's not touching the horse there, but it does need to touch all the way along from here right the way through to the back. And then when I'm looking at the back, I need to be able to see that the pressure here isn't a point. I don't want to see that it's touching right at the very end here but nowhere else. It needs to be evenly spread and just finish neatly at the end of the saddle here, but not pressing down. And again round the back, if you can see, you need to be able to see daylight all the way through to the front of the saddle. You would get the horse to stand square, or have a handler ready to have your horse standing square, so that you can see that the saddle doesn't tilt to one side of the horse and that it's not crooked sitting on the horse. The next thing is, does the position of the saddle look like the rider will be sat in the middle? If it looks like it's tipping downhill or uphill, then that won't work, because it means that the rider will be pressing too much on the front or the back of the saddle. And when you touch the saddle, put a bit of pressure, does it rock back and forth, or is it nice and stable? The saddle's nice and stable, it's not seesawing back and forth on the horse's back, which would create pressure points. And does it actually fit this horse? Do the girth straps end up in the right place? And yes, they do, and doesn't end up too far on the horse's back. It sits nicely on top of the horse in the right position. Once you've had a good look at the saddle on the horse and check for all those different things, what I would do is get yourself a saddle cloth or a numner that's very clean, preferably a white one like this one. Girth the horse up, check everything still looks right with the girth on, and then hop on the horse and have a little bit of a ride. And then once you've unsaddled the horse, have a look at your saddle blanket and check to see that the hair and the dust and the grease is spread evenly. If you see that there's some areas where there is hair and dust and other areas that are perfectly clean, it means that there are certain pressure points and that the saddle's not fitting the horse. If everything looks great by you looking at from the ground, but then that happens, it might be a case of having a saddler come and re-flock the saddle or restuff the saddle. But if in doubt, you should always have an expert with you to fit a saddle, because an ill-fitting saddle can create all sorts of problems like soreness and behavioural problems with your horse.